Welcome to the Midlife Pilot Podcast. We are glad you're with us. What is it like to become a pilot in your 40s and 50s? The challenges are unique for those of us in midlife, but so are the rewards. Hosts Ben, Brian, and Ted talk learning to fly, growing as pilots, and the joy of flying to destinations. The purpose of the podcast is not to teach, but to share knowledge and experiences of being a midlife pilot. Join the Midlife Pilot community and listen in every week. We are not CFIs or particularly intelligent, so if you want to learn how to fly, talk to anyone else other than the hosts of a podcast. Even this intro was too challenging for us, and we used a robot to do it. Okay, checklists are complete. Let's get the show started.
Hello and welcome to episode 190 of the Midlife Pilot Podcast, where we share the challenges and joys of flying in midlife. Today, we're going to be talking about IFR currency. We got some feedback. We got some people recording on the tape recorder. Got a full show for you tonight. Joining me tonight from his studio in the heart of Music Row under the Bachelorette Super Charlie, it's our friend Brian Siskin. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, everyone. I'm amazed that I was even able to make it. I may not sustain myself through this, but technical difficulties be damned. I am here, and I'm here for it. And, you know, Oshkosh, it's a great thing from what I understand.
One day, my friend.
I know.
One day we're going to get you up there.
It's always next year.
Always next year. Also joining us from the West Coast, our sport pilot extraordinaire flying a CTLS we like to call the Egg. It's my friend. It's Brian's friend. And quite frankly, he's everybody's friend. It's Tedder. How you doing, sir?
Hey, I am glad to be here.
Glad to have you here.
Yeah.
Been a kind of a quiet week, I think, for most of us in the flying regard. I will say I am in full preparation mode to depart very, very early on Wednesday morning to go up to the aforementioned Oshkosh. We've got a little meetup planned, I do believe, Thursday evening, 5 p.m. And we're in a campsite that is, it's kind of next to the vintage airplane camping area. It's just down from the theater in the woods. And the name of the place is, I'm drawing a blank, but we posted on the Discord the exact location of it. And I'll look it up here in a minute. But anyway.
Did you draw a blank on it or you can't pronounce it?
A little bit of both. I know it's go for it, Ted.
No, I don't remember it. I just remember that it's difficult to pronounce.
People can watch the Midlife Pilot Podcast Instagram and get the latest.
That's
Exactly.
right.
Yeah.
It is, I'll tell you right now exactly what it is. It's
Rumspringa.
Rellemunitz at Air Adventure Campground. It's at 3667 Knapp Street.
Yeah.
Rellemunitz. Yes.
There you go.
And unfortunately, AJ can't pronounce that via the chat. So anyway, I'm excited. I've got my big camping bin off here. It's got my tent. It's got everything in there. The plane ready to go. And yeah, be leaving early Wednesday morning, probably around 4 o'clock. There's a TFR starting at noon and just don't want to be part of that mess. So yeah, that's it. Guys, you got anything that you want to talk about? Any flying, any recent fun, any recent adventures?
I'm not sure that leaving at 4 is early. I think it's really late the night before, but you can take your pick. There is a time where this doesn't count as morning anymore.
Yeah.
It's somewhere between 4 and 4:30. I think.
Okay.
That break, maybe 3:30 to 4:30, somewhere in there.
Rellemunitz is how we pronounce it,
There you go.
apparently. So that's where we're meeting up at.
I have been doing some really techie, nerdy stuff. I have unlocked the Sentry ADS-B device, so it's not forced to be tied onto ForeFlight, which is some dark magic to do that. It doesn't even affect me because I use ForeFlight, but it's been fun to do it just because it bothers me to realize it's locked up.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
I want the choice. No, I still want to be with you, but I just want the choice.
Exactly. Yeah.
Very good.
You said the door was locked. I have to figure out how to get in the door. I don't want to get to the other side. I'm just bothered you said I can't go in it. Yeah.
Here's a great big button. Don't push it.
That sounds like a hazardous attitude, Ted.
Oh, it so much is. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's quite all right, though. Brian, anything fun for you? I know you've been kind of busy over the last couple of days, but just checking in.
Yeah, nothing of any flying sorts or anything like that. Honestly, I've flown so much, I think, in the past month or two that I'm good for a minute. I need to
Yeah.
let the wallet calm down a little bit. And then also, yeah, things have just been wildly busy with all the work, family, all the things that us midlifers are always contending with. I find it really interesting, especially at this age. I think we all can relate to this where everybody is going through it, where you're taking care of your family, your parents, and dealing with aging parents and all of that. And I know that you guys are, have been down those roads or actively in those conditions. And so just a quick shout out to all the people out there that are midlife pilots that are also trying to straddle the actualities of midlife, which is the family drag of real life happening all the time. And it does present some interesting decision making and it's a bit of a paradox because you want to go fly to get away from mortal pressures and terrestrial concerns. But then at the same time, if you've got that big of a push to get you to where you're thinking, I just really need to get away from all this for a minute and take a deep breath and get some perspective and fly, then you're probably not meeting the conditions of which you should be flying
Right.
anyway. So,
The fine line there, truly.
yeah, fine line between stupid and clever, as they say.
When's
as
the
Final
last
Task
time-
says.
When's the last time you went to an actual wedding? Especially if someone your age.
I thought you were going to say
I
to
know.
a shrink.
Yeah. Well, obviously not because
Yeah, right.
um,
Yeah, that's a Groupon I haven't redeemed yet.
exactly. There was a very distinct phase of my life, I think especially because of the culture I came out of, where it's like everybody got married and then all my friends had kids.
Yeah,
I haven't been to a wedding in 15 years,
right.
but I know so many people that are
Yeah.
dealing with the parent thing.
Yeah.
And
That's right.
so enjoy being midlife is what I'm saying.
As best you can, and you got to
Yeah.
you have to. I think that the through line here is you can't take care of anybody else unless you are taking care of yourself. And even if that means being pursuant to something that is maybe as transcendent or distracting as aviation, have something that you're doing that keeps you charged because other people need to plug into you. So anyway,
Well, I
that's
do want to say, since the last recording, I had the great fortune of attending your seminar. Have we talked about this yet on the podcast? I don't think we have.
No.
Oh no.
So I want to give a massive shout out to my co-host, Brian, who put together this amazing course called The Long Way. He did a condensed version for this at a flight school in Nashville, frequency change aviation. And the general manager said this was the most people they had attend their ground courses in a very, very long time. It was a smaller room, but it was completely packed. The material is very engaging in and of itself. The data is solid as a rock. Brian has a great way to present it. He just did a really good job. There was a lot of great, thoughtful questions asked during the course of it. And I just want to say, good job, man. That was a great course.
Thank you. Yeah, it was really fun to do, and it's I owe a lot to you guys and to the community because really the course is a lot of a synthesis of things that we've learned collectively as it relates to flying the long way, as I call it. The VFR cross country confidence. So there's a lot of people that, like I said, when I saw 80% of pilots stop flying after 2 years, I thought, well, that's a whole different concern than people being rusty pilots. That's just people giving up on it entirely. And that's frustrating. And I think a lot of it has to do with making it to that next level and resolving that gap in training. So to have a room full of widely varied people with a lot more experience than I have, people with a lot less experience than I have, and everybody got something out of it, it seems. And so it was thrilling and it was great. And I really enjoyed it. And thanks for the shout out.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So was this predates Ben and I, but was it Frequency Change that was on the Midlife podcast at one point?
Say it again?
Yes, you had the chief pilot from Frequency Change on when you and Chris were on the
Oh, yeah.
podcast, I believe. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, Jeff Ramsey.
Okay. I was
Yeah.
trying to quickly look up early podcast episodes to find that, to know if I was remembering that correctly or not. Yeah.
Yeah.
Got it.
And you're trying to listen to it, and you're like, this is lame. I'm not even on this.
I'm listening in another ear as we're talking right now. Yeah.
No, but anyway, fantastic. So what's the next thing?
We're going to we got 2 listener feedbacks and a couple of folks that have sent us, use our tape recorder on our website, midlifepilotpodcast.com. There's 2 feedbacks, Brian. I don't know if you've seen them. If I can take either one, I'm here to support you, my friend. So you tell me what you want to do and I'll follow your lead.
Well, it looks like Ted's taking the first feedback from.
Oh, looks like, yeah, he sure
yeah.
is.
Yeah. I
solves that.
labeled myself on it, and
I love
Yeah.
it.
you guys can choose between the next one.
Okay.
Who wants?
That's
to
what when it says Ted will read in giant capital
I
letters.
saw that after the fact. My apologies. Okay. Listen, public school education. That's all I got to say. We skip
Well,
around.
Our what do our spouses do, Ben? So public school teachers. Yeah.
Yes.
So our first one, I was really happy to see this. Our first one is from our friend, the Badger pilot. He and I have been texting this week. He said, I just finished episode 189 and found the conversation about pilots, quote unquote, descending into sport pilot later in their aviation lives. I know many pilots that have done this pre-Mosaic. They've taken it upon themselves to recognize that flying in IMC or at night isn't safe for them anymore, but they're still safe daytime VFR pilots. In some cases, they don't just limit themselves to one passenger, but they put a personal minimum on themselves where they will only fly with an instructor or another pilot in the right seat. This is a great way to keep people safely flying as they age. It's nice to see that the regs have caught up and reinforced this idea so pilots can feel more confident identifying that when it's time to limit themselves, they can still continue to fly under the right circumstances rather than have somebody take away their keys after an incident or accident. Hopefully, we will all reach the point of elderly pilot, where we grow older and wiser in our airborne adventures, the Badger pilot. That was very well written. Words are hard. He did a great job there of saying that. There are insurance companies that encourage pilots to fly with somebody next to them and not solo. There are, I think, a lot of people that may not change the license they're flying under, but are making decisions they may not even be saying to other people about what they're doing. And that's really cool. That's a great way to put it. I'm really glad he said that.
Me too. It's a whole nother avenue of or a group of people that where this is going to apply to, and that again, you're getting up in the air, you're staying proficient, and you're doing it in a safe way. So, Badger, thanks for sending that one in.
Yeah,
definitely.
So, Brian, you tell me. This one's kind of long, but it's a really good one, and I'll be happy to do it if you don't want to.
It sounds like you want to, Ben. I'm happy.
You honestly do it because I've been coughing a little bit, and I'm not sure I can get through it without having to hack up a lung.
Okay. All right. This is a long one, much longer than what we would normally read. So just hang with me, and we'll take little breaks and breathers. And Ted, as I'm going through, if you see any editing opportunities, we can do this in sync. I didn't realize what we were getting into here. Okay. All that to be said, this is fantastic. I mean, it really is. So I'm happy to read all of it. Okay. So this is from Christopher T., who is one of our CAPS level supporters. And CAPS is as high as it gets. That's the top tier. So really, thank you so much for that, Christopher T. So here we go. He says, first, I just wanted to thank you guys for putting together the podcast. I found it probably 2 months ago and have been binge listening to it while driving. Careful with that. I wanted to pursue my private pilot license since I was a kid, now 46 years old. For me, it's beyond the normal desire okay, hold on a second. For me, it's beyond the normal desire to just be able to fly whenever and wherever you please, although that does sound amazing. It's a desire that goes back a couple generations to my grandfather. He was a World War II pilot and radio man and ultimately ended up on a B-29 that was stationed on Tinian with the Enola Gay. Wow. There's a famous airplane. You got the beast, right? You got the egg, right? Got the
Lucy and Enola Gay. I mean, that's the Mount Rushmore of airplanes right there.
I wonder how many eggs you could put inside the.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before he passed away a couple years ago, 100 years old, wow, he would always tell us stories about the war, kamikaze pilots, and so many other things. He loved flying. About 25 years ago, I told him I wanted to learn how to fly. Since no one else in the family was an aviator, he was excited for me and bought me a book on learning to fly. I don't remember the title right now, it says. I read it cover to cover, took a discovery flight, and loved it until motion sickness kicked me in the teeth. I never, quote unquote, splashed my Merlot, as they say, but felt miserable the rest of the day. So I quickly came to the conclusion that I just couldn't do it. Fast forward, and now I'm midlife with an amazing wife and 4 kids, ages 6 to 19. Good plug on the wife. That was a really nice job. I like how you put that in there. I'll read it again. I'm midlife with an amazing wife and 4 kids, ages from 6 to 19. And your podcast has given me the bug again, and pretty bad. The old saying rings true that when you are young, you have no money and lots of time. But when you get older, you have less time and more money. Truth be told, I run my own company, so I can work out flying during working hours, which is great. So now I have the bug worse than before. I've been blessed in life to have the means to pursue this, but family life with 4 kids is busy, and there's the darned fear of getting motion sick. So, all that being said, if you were in my shoes, and maybe you were, what would you recommend? Is there a rule of thumb that some people just can't get used to the motion? For a busy midlifer, what kind of training schedule is reasonable? Do you know any CFIs in Atlanta, maybe at PDK, that you might recommend or that you know would have some understanding of us midlifers? I think expectations are huge, and setting realistic ones can make all of the difference. The issue is, I don't know what realistic looks like starting at this point. That's such a great point. I love that. So I'm going to read that again.
Seriously.
I'm going to read the last 2 sentences again, even though this is a long one. He said, I think expectations are huge, and setting realistic ones can make all the difference. The issue is, I don't know what realistic looks like starting at this point. I love that.
Yeah.
When I took my discovery, there was a kid in the right seat, CFI, and there's not a chance someone like that would understand the scheduling challenges or even motion sickness issues some might face. I've read that motion sickness is just something you get over as you fly more, but I have no idea if that's true or not. Anyways, apologies for the rambling. I appreciate what you guys do and for any insight you might have to offer, and certainly for allowing some of us to live vicariously through you. Thanks, Chris T, aka Scrooge. And I'll read the PS here. He says, P.S. Amazing fact about my grandfather is that about 35 years ago, the Air Force randomly selected a B-29 from the practice artillery fields to restore and display, and they selected his. It's at an outdoor museum east of San Francisco on an Air Force base. After 35 more years of sitting still, it needs work. Pretty amazing for future generations to be able to see the actual aircraft flown by your grandfather in World War II. That is cool. And so, all right, what would you guys recommend?
Well, after sitting for 35 years, I need work too. So that
exactly
makes
right. So there's actually had a back and forth with Chris T. And so first of all, and Mr. Easy G said it as well, motion sickness may be overcome with exposure. Everybody, I've probably talked to 3 or 4 people that went up for the first time, usually in the summer, usually in an older plane where there's fumes and it's hot and they got a little queasy, but everybody has worked through it. I think this is something that you can absolutely push through with.
Honestly, it's not unlike listening to this podcast.
100%. If you're working through the back episodes, getting over this motion sickness will be a walk in the park.
Just repeating. Sure.
Yeah, once you get to 40 hours, you should be over the nausea. Also with flying. Yeah.
It should be a lot sooner with the flying, quite frankly. But
40 hours, conveniently the point where you started.
Yeah, exactly. So I've got, wow. And then it got worse. It does seem that from what I've heard, people seem to get a lot better overexposure with it. But please be careful. Don't go out, for instance, the hottest part of the day when you're going to be doing maneuvers. Like, stack everything in your favor. Eat the correct amount. Go when it's cooler. Do all the stuff you can so that you don't set yourself up for failure.
100% agree with that. I've always said you need to put 3 lessons on the schedule per week, hoping that you fly 2 of them. We're in the hottest time of the year. It's going to be that way in Atlanta for the next 2 to 3 months. September, October starts to get better, but set aside 3 hours or 3 lessons a week and plan on 2 hours at least for those block of times, because you're going to have to, the lesson may be an hour, but you're going to have the pre-brief and the post-brief and all that stuff.
I think also just setting expectations with a CFI that is minded towards your benefit and not theirs. Somebody.
One thing I do want to say, and I agree, when there's so many young CFIs out there are actually some good young CFIs.
Yeah.
There are some that have taken it seriously and know how to talk to people that are older than them or teach to people that are older than them. He did pick a flight school already at a PDK, and I believe he picked a very good one. It does seem to have more of the midlife pilot clientele. This flight school does fly almost, I think, exclusively Cirrus aircraft. And a lot of them are brand new, and they're not cheap, and they don't pertain to be anything other than that. But it kind of caters towards people that are a little bit older and more experienced. So I do feel like he's got a great school already. And yeah, just you gotta, it's the more lessons you can book in a week, the quicker and better the information you'll retain, and you'll move along a little bit quicker.
Yeah. And there's a series of comments in here about go early, and exactly.
Real early.
Yeah. Tim said one of the CFIs has 5:30 is his kind of call time. It was great. Do it. Don't start at 9 a.m. Like, get going. Tim also said he keeps I'll just call them barf bags in the plane. So I have going doors, and it has a pocket in the doors, which is dumb because if your door is raised all the way up, things are going to fall out of the pocket in the door. That's the one thing that I have in the doors are little barf bags, because they weigh nothing, and that way they're within reach of a passenger. Take your own, and it's okay if it happens.
Nothing wrong with it.
Also, Nathan Ballard said he knows somebody at PDK, so if you still need a contact, or if anybody does, we've got a reference to someone, not him, but someone else at PDK.
Yep. Great airport to learn out of that. You can fly out of that airport. You can fly out of anywhere in the country. Let's get this one more comment, and then we'll hit the belly scrubbing, if that's okay. This comes to us from Heath Mitchell. He says, I get motion sick, but I have found that when I have the controls, I don't get sick. Works for cars and planes.
Yep.
Yeah, a lot of different. If you still have it, there's people that the Dramamine patches, maybe you need to see if it doesn't keep you from getting drowsy. Be careful. Watch those warnings.
And I think we have don't we have a whole episode about this?
Oh, man.
I think so.
I think we devoted an entire episode to this. Anyway, go find it.
Go find it
in the show notes.
Yes.
There you go.
So anyway, let's keep it flowing, and let's move on to the belly scrub.
All right, we'll just hit it real quick. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, we've got 3 feedbacks. We're going to just wait on those. We got to do one of them at least.
Well,
Tape recorders, you mean?
Yeah, sorry, I was just following the sequence that was prescribed by the gods. But let's do, what do you call it in the software world? The needful? Play it. Let's hit it.
All right, let's
little drum roll.
That's the one we need first. Is
okay.
Our friend and secret show host, Mark Wendell Geek, is at Oshkosh, and so he gave us a kind of a report from the show, and we got that to play here.
Hello, Ben, Brian, and Ted. This is Wendell Geek reporting from the Oshkosh Air Show for the Midlife Pilot Podcast. Really glad that you guys were able to listen to this, but the air show has been fantastic. Lots of airplanes, and we have been meeting tons and tons of friends. I got to meet Zach. I got to meet AJ. I got to see tons and tons of friends. And we're just having a great time here. Come on, airplanes. AJ, we're gonna go see airplanes. I told you we would go in a second. I told you. AJ, remember what I said?
No.
I said after I recorded this, we can go.
No.
After I recorded this. So give me
right now. Airplanes. You're flying. I'm sorry. I don't know what I thought. Somebody else was responsible for that.
I want to see him. Send help. Bye.
No, my enemy RJ was there. What wasn't seen there was a Wendell Geek with AJ, which is great, and we've got the host of APG there as well. So it was so great to see everybody having a good time.
That was funny. That was really good. Thanks, Geek. I think in the background there was the the 2/3 scale.
Yeah,
that's based out of Nashville. Was it the T30?
I thought it was a B29.
that was PT.
I'm saying all that. I've met the guy who owns it, and I've filmed it, and I just can't remember. Anyway, it's based out of Gallatin. But anyway, awesome. Thanks for the we got like correspondence in the field.
Yes.
Yeah, Ben, you this is what you know.
I'm up
Ted,
next. I get it.
Ted, are
Pressure's
you going
on.
to Oshkosh?
Yes, not this year.
Oh. Okay. So Ben, it's all on you. Dispatch from the
Gotcha.
field. Yeah.
Dispatch from the fields. Okay. No pressure.
No pressure.
So, all right, we got another that we're going to listen to.
Yeah, we can do that. We've got 2 tape recorder submissions. So
All right.
let's get the first of those from Ash.
Can we set it up first?
I haven't listened to them.
No. I mean, just in concept, right? We have this thing called the
Yeah.
Midlife Pilot Podcast Tape Machine. It is on midlifepilotpodcast.com, and it's been awesome because people can just go on their phones or website or whatever and just press a button, and it automatically sends everything to us, and then it makes it real easy to put it on the show. This is a technological revelation masked as a vintage tape machine. So thanks for those who are starting to catch on.
Yeah. So let's play Ash's feedback first.
Hey guys, this is Ash. I go by flying_wheelies on Instagram. I am a wheelchair pilot and a sport pilot because I am a wheelchair pilot. I just heard the latest episode and I loved all of it. And I especially follow your podcast to listen to Ben and his sport pilot escapades. So I'm based out of Northern California in San Jose. Got my ticket as a sport pilot about 16 years ago back east when I lived in the New York area. Been flying a Sky Arrow, which is a light sport Italian aircraft, which has factory built hand controls. So I could do rudders and rudder throttle with my hands since I can't use my feet being in a wheelchair, can't walk, don't have power in my legs. Now I turned 50 about 3 years ago, and that's when I bought my own Paradise P1 light sport with hand controls and have been flying around a lot. Just completed about 120 hours in the last 12 months. So been ramping up my flying and trying to share the fact with more and more pilots that just because you have a disability or some kind of impedance, you don't need to stop flying. And Sport Pilot gives us that capability, which private is just too many hoops to jump through to get your medical basic med. I know many people that have done that being in wheelchairs with disabilities, but it's just a lot more of paperwork and hoops you have to jump through to do that. Not that many EMEs are friendly. Just wanted to share that. Thank you for the amazing episode. Keep the good work going. Again, it's Ash flying_wheelies. Thanks, guys.
That was so cool.
So cool.
I hadn't listened to these yet, and so it was so cool to hear that. And link to his Instagram will be in the show notes, of course, and the Paradise P1 that he bought. His most recent Instagram is him towing his plane out with a tow bar in his lap in his motorized wheelchair.
Heck yeah.
That's awesome.
I got to be honest with you. It makes me feel honored to be on a podcast where people like this listen to it.
Yeah.
It does. I just think that's so freaking awesome. So good on you, Ash. Keep it up, man. Just think that's awesome.
So
Yeah.
cool.
What do
And
I
what a
hear
great
more?
point. Just the idea that sport is really a gateway for a lot of great things to happen that otherwise would not be. And so I can appreciate what he's saying about the friends, colleagues that he has going the route of the private pilot, but just the disparity of the burden is not proportional, it sounds like, So, and I think when you're facing that level of challenge, it's hard enough for all of us midlife pilots under normal-ish circumstances. So when I hear, just got no power in my legs, but I got a plane with hand controls and, flying about 10 hours a month. That's so cool. It's so cool.
It's fantastic. So
Yeah. I love that.
thank you, Ash. We really appreciate you.
Very
sending that
much.
in.
Yeah.
Yeah. And being on the West Coast, that we have to meet up. That's really cool.
Yep.
Our final tape deck submission is from Ray. Let's play Ray's here.
G'day, gentlemen. It's Ray from down in Australia here. I'm 42, just bought my first ever airplane, a bright yellow Savannah VG. Just logged on to your nice new website to buy the Piston Peasant t-shirt and found that it doesn't come to Australia. Hoping to find a way to wear one of your shirts soon. Keep up the good work, and I enjoy your podcast. Cheers.
Sorry about the levels there. The tape machine's still getting calibrated.
This. And for the record, we have worked out a situation for our friend down under. We are getting him his requested t-shirts. So, and working on future resolutions to where anybody in the world can order these shirts.
Ted, what's the latest on the shop?
Oh, man. The shop is great. There are some settings trying to get it so we can let it ship internationally. If you have any problems with it, just reach out. We'll figure it out. We have ways to make sure you get merch.
So I know AJ and he knows people. So that's, nothing else needs to be said.
Maybe
there.
we could set up a bit of like a Hands Across America, but it's like pistons across the planet to just set up a series of interconnecting flights, sort of like, pilots and pause type of thing, but it's just to get this t-shirt to Australia.
I don't know. All it makes me think of, and this is terrible to think of this, but it's Mitch Hedberg saying, "Have you met my drug dealer, FedEx?" That's the same thing. We can get you, in this case, the hard drugs we're getting you is aviation product.
Yeah, we will. So he's taken care of since that recording was made, but the accent, and honestly, we have a lot of listeners in Australia, and maybe if we get enough Australia going on here, maybe in a couple years, 2028, midlife
Episode 300,
Australia.
not event, will be in Australia.
Yeah. All right,
I
you
like
guys.
I love it. All right. Yeah, we got to keep it moving, fellas.
All right.
Let's start with the belly scrub.
All right, you can join our Patreon community and help us keep the Midlife Pilot podcast ad-free. Your support makes this show possible, and every membership gets you into our incredibly active Discord community. For everything Midlife Pilot podcast, just go to midlifepilotpodcast.com. Don't forget that's where the tape machine is. It's where the merch store is, and all of the good things. If you're enjoying the show, please leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Reviews haven't really. Do we have any new reviews?
I have been checking. We haven't gotten any new.
Okay,
ones.
guys, come on. All right, just start making stuff up. All right, come up with another username. No, but we'll read it on the air, no matter who it's from. As long as it's 5 stars, it can say anything. Hit subscribe or follow on your podcast app so you never miss an episode. It really helps other midlife pilots find us. And now on to Ted for the Patreon and Discord accomplishments.
Yeah. We've got some new people. I want to thank them for joining us this week. At the Landomatic level, we have Trevor. At the Hershey Bar level, we have Steve and Alex. And at the Caps level, we have Chris T. So thank you for joining us.
Yes.
It's always nice to see people rolling into Discord and getting introductions and everything else in there. And in the Discord accomplishments world, Chuck hit a new airport. He said it's his 25th airport he's landed at. And that's 52 Alpha. It's Madison, Georgia, I believe.
That's correct.
He said,
Flown into there several times. Nice little
I was going to
airport.
ask if you had. Yeah.
Mhm.
He said, I'd planned on hitting a couple more, but Thunderstorm Southeast made the decision for me. Yeah. You can't hit everything.
'Tis the season.
Jess, who got his Mooney home, second Mooney, I think, got his Mooney home, got his complex endorsement, so he can now solo in his Mooney.
Yeah.
So all you student pilots who think that soloing is kind of a dismal accomplishment, which it's not, it's still a big deal at this point when you can solo your own airplane. This applies to all of us.
Yeah.
And yeah, it keeps going.
Well,
Very cool.
Moonies are, they're idiosyncratic, unique planes, much less complex. So, get your instruction, do what you got to do.
Absolutely. So tonight we're going to be talking about Brian is now IFR rated, and I've been singing these woes for a long time. But you get your instrument ticket, and I know a lot of our audience may be VFR, and there are some maybe tangents that would apply to this for the VFR pilots. But maintaining your IFR currency is not easy as it sounds unless you work for an airline or you're flying 900 hours a year. It's just not. And I was wondering when Brian was going to come to this realization. And to be honest with you, you got to it a lot sooner than I thought you would.
Well, I was, this is a lot of the reason why I didn't even bother getting my instrument rating for so long, is because I knew, and I've talked about it a lot on the podcast about, we had an early episode on sort of, should you bother or not, right? Which is a gratuitous sort of argument, because of course you should get your instrument rating. But all that said, you want to find the fastest logical reason to not do it right now. It's, well, this is a really hard thing to keep up. And I knew that was going to be a challenge.
It is. And, the way we thought we would structure this, Ted is maybe in a better position to play the role of folks who may not have their instrument rating and, say, what's the big deal?
Yeah, I can play the role of a dumb person here.
I wasn't going to go that road.
I know. I seem to be good at it.
I beg to differ, but go ahead.
So when I think of currency, it's easy to think of maintaining passenger currency, maintaining theoretical night currency, and I guess tail wheel as well. Oh, drink. I know it's a much bigger issue for instrument pilots. I believe every 6 months you have to do a lot of things. I don't know what those things are, how you get them done.
I like it because you kind of there's six of them.
I know there's six. Yeah.
There's six, but you don't know what they are.
Yep.
So, for the record, and Brian, you are the IGI certificated person.
And that's why I'm going to ask you, Ben.
I was hoping you would.
What is six? What is it? 6 hits. Yeah,
6 hits. You need to have 6 instrument approaches, holding procedures and tasks, and intercepting and tracking navigation aids.
intercepting,
and tracking courses.
Wow.
Yeah.
And just 6 over the course of 6-month period. And
Right.
if you don't, Brian, then what happens?
Well, before we get into if you don't, let's talk about first what else needs to be happening. Can you wear Foggles and just take them off once you hit the initial approach fix?
Nope.
What do you
Not at the initial approach fix. Once you
Yeah.
pass the final approach fix, you can then take them off and still log the approach. That's kind of one of the things that I wanted to get into. In a perfect world, we'd all live in California, and we'd have a wonderful IFR playground where you have the marine layer a lot of the year, and it's literally awesome. Marginal VFR, maybe a little bit lower, but you have so many days that you can go up and shoot actual instrument approaches.
So the initial fix and the final fix, roughly what altitudes those tend to be at?
the most of the approaches I've flown are in Georgia, and they typically are between 2,500 and 3,000 feet is where the initial fixes are.
And the final?
The final's usually between 1,500 and 2,000 or 2,500, somewhere around there.
Okay. So if you need to be in instrument conditions at final, that means you need ceilings that are somewhere above 1,000 and below 3,000.
Let's hang on for a second.
Yeah, hold on. Let's pause. Okay, so let's just make sure that we are communicating accurate information that is universally accepted.
That's not what this podcast is about.
I know, it's so hard. All right, so there are two things that when we as IFR pilots are trying to stay current, we already talked about the 6 hits, but then you have to be either doing it for real without Foggles or with a safety pilot and Foggles. And if you're doing it on your own, as long as you can get past the initial approach, the
Final approach.
the final approach fix, sorry, then it counts.
Yes, it's loggable. When you say it counts, means you could put it in your
Right.
logbook.
If you're under Foggles, you've got to go down memos.
Good call.
So
You gotta
you have so let's think about the logistics of that for a second. For those that are uninitiated, it may just seem like numbers and things and procedures you have to do, but in reality, you've got to find perfect weather conditions that are somewhere in the sweet spot between not icing, not convective, ceilings that are not below your minimums, and all the other conditions that are relative to flying and your airplane and all of the other things that have to happen for that to be the perfect situation. For me, the perfect situation is when the ceilings are, say, 1,000 to 1,500, something like that, or where the bases are 1,500 down to 1,000. So I have at least 1,000 to break out and go from there. So a lot of people don't care. A lot of people fly down to minimums all the time. I just don't do that in a single engine. So, and that's not because I have such a massive amount of experience. I've listened to people that have a massive amount of experience, and that's what I garnered. And so I'll just do that until I get a lot more comfortable. So there's that part of it. Then the other side of the logistics is, you got to find a friend. It's like, hey, you want to come and just not fly up and watch me, and we're going to fly like 12 miles in the wrong direction half the time.
So what you're saying is, if you can't get the conditions to do it on your own,
Yeah.
to do an actual, then you need your safety pilot friend, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's just in this part of the country, there's about 11 days a year where it's not convective or freezing.
So I would disagree with that slightly. Fall is actually a really good time of year. There's a lot more, the opportunities are more abundant than you might think.
I was being hyperbolic.
And secondly, you're right. We have to ask a friend to go sit in the plane with us for an hour and a half to just do 3 approaches. But there's always that reciprocity where you're going to do it for them eventually. Just so you know, it is a very boring, I shouldn't say that. You can make it fun, but that's just part of the trials and tribulations of being an instrument rated pilot, I'm afraid.
Also,
And-
can we talk about the 6 months for a second?
Yes, that's what yeah.
So we're used to VFR currency things happening like, 3 takeoffs and landings so I can take passengers at night. Okay. I let it go all the way down to 89 days, and then I just do this thing for 15 minutes, and then I've reactivated my credits, Instrument flying, I have found it's a lot more sloppy in the way that you accumulate these things. And so what I'm learning, or what I'm inferring from this, is you're going to have to be a lot more purposeful all the time, because what I just kind of happen to get here and there by circumstances, now it's like, I've got this. Wait, how many do I have? And it's the last one, and when, and it becomes like an administrative nightmare.
So pro tip, and maybe ForeFlight has this, but I can tell you Garmin Pilot has your currency clock.
Yeah, it does.
And it will tell you when,
Yeah.
it'll give you a 30-day notice if you're coming up on your expiring. So I live and die by that.
Yeah.
And when I get when I'm 30 days out, I'll go hopefully find a IFR day and go knock out an approach or two. Lately, go ahead.
I was going to say we failed to mention simulators as well.
You absolutely can use simulators.
Are there any restrictions on that?
No
On the
alcohol.
simulators?
I mean, no alcohol. You know, I've thought about that. Is that actually a restriction? Seriously.
Right.
I've thought about that with homesteads as well, which is maybe you don't want to get in the habit of needing a drink to do an approach.
So,
but could you?
I feel like if I answer that question, I'm going to get in trouble with somebody, regardless of what my answer is going to be. We'll leave it to our chat. Is it legal to drink while you're in a simulator? Elliot, why don't you give us an answer on
It's a
that?
good habit to be in.
I just want to say, guys, it's been really fun being able to do this podcast.
Yeah, we're out.
Yeah.
So, Brian, you recently shot at an instrument approach where you had to do a hold. It was in actual. You were in instrument meteorological conditions.
I was an actual.
Yes. How was that compared to being under the Foggles?
See, that's a great question. I see where you're going, because the whole idea of currency is not to meet a paper requirement, but to meet the challenge and be ready for it. And it is absolutely divorced entirely in every perceptual and physical way. The Foggles are the worst approximation of the instrument experience. I find it totally useless. There's something about being in actual and doing all the maneuvering and the holds and the things and all of that, where you have your whole field of view in the cockpit. It actually is kind of helpful. You're not in this weird, I don't know, half vision mode where you're constantly looking out through weird bifocals, So anyway, actual is exponentially better experience. And that makes sense because you're simulating it otherwise. So I can appreciate that you have to simulate it for training and for currency, but man, yeah, there's nothing like the real thing. And the sensations, I think, act upon you in IMC differently than Foggles. I think that your peripheral is still sneaking in, stabilizing information to your brain and your ear your ear hairs, your cilia, that they're getting just enough to not kind of come undone. And when you're in that situation in real life, you can really start to think about like, oh yeah, probably shouldn't be looking down, or that kind of stuff.
So you find actual harder than simulated?
I find it
than Foggles?
easier, but I find it.
Okay.
I find it easier, but I find it. That's a great way of. I don't know. I find it easier overall. I prefer it. It is probably more challenging in some ways, but I think that simulated has its own challenges because you're just kind of just limiting your vision, and it's kind of goofy.
But maybe because you're not, it's real, that it's
Oh yeah.
that makes it, I don't know, easier to get in the headspace of it. Our friend Bitshifter says, did you hand fly that approach when you were in actual?
So that's a great question. I did until I was about to approach the turn to go inbound. And then I let lateral one axis of the autopilot work from there because I just really wanted to make sure I was coming out inbound in the right spot. and there was somebody that was on the opposite approach that was perhaps going to have to come and hold 1,000 feet below me, or not hold, but go mist and hold 1,000 feet below me. So I really wanted to focus on altitude and I didn't want to have to burden myself so much with heading, if that makes sense. So that's kind of why I did it that way.
So two things. One is I'm going to put a link to Wendell Geek's video. I remembered it, so I had to go look it up to make sure. It was called I Can't See the Runway. It was his first solo IFR flight, and he basically flew down to memos. And it's not meant to be a flex or anything. It just kind of happened that way with him.
Yeah.
And of course it's Mark, so he did an amazing job at it, and that was great.
Yeah.
And the other thing is this 6 hits thing. Do you need to practice 6 holds?
No, you need to have a hold. And Mr. IGI, maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong, but doesn't a procedure turn count as in lieu of a hold? Does that count towards a hold for the logbooks?
We're just gonna say, yeah. So yeah.
So no, you don't need 6, technically speaking.
Okay. Yes, it's not 6.
No,
I just know from pilots near me, like flying hold is not normal, and it gets in the way of controllers and planes and everyone else. So I just can't imagine that you're flying holds every time.
No, absolutely not. You just need to have one hold amongst the 6. So you got to have 6 approaches, and they need to include holds, tracking navigational aids, tracking courses.
In the age of GPS, it's really not a big deal. If you don't have GPS, then you've got a little bit more to think about. But you also have to know how to do it without GPS. So
Tim confirms hold in lieu of procedure turn counts.
helped.
Yep. I wanted to hit Captain Todd's comment and wanted to respond to it. I don't know if you started or not. Here it is. Captain Todd says, here's my provocative question. What's more important, an IFR rating or 200 plus horsepower? Parenthetically, find a whole VFR over the top.
Oh, goodness. Come on.
I think that's a pretty easy one.
Yeah, the answer is both.
No, IFR, because you might not ever have a hole on top that you thought you did. So,
well, it's a tempting, problematic thing. So
it is.
You gotta be careful.
I agree with what you're saying about the actual. You know, to your point, when we're wearing Foggles or we're wearing a hood, we do tend to kind of cheat a little bit using our peripherals, but we're kind of doing that on instrument approaches because when you start getting close to the bottom of the layer, you get ground contact. And so you're looking, but you need to look outside, so make sure you capture the runway in the right amount of time. But it's when we get into the fall and there are marginal VFR days, I am going up. I don't care what it takes. Now, hopefully, I can find gainful employment flying airplanes, and this will be a little bit easier for me to retain that. But I equate keeping your IFR currency no different than doing your night currency in the summertime when the sun goes down at 9:30.
Yeah,
which means you can't log the landings until 10:30, and you're getting home at 1:00 in the morning after putting the airplane up.
Yeah, I do think that, like somebody said in the chat, that the hood is better than Foggles. I fully agree with that. But it's just, I don't know. It's something that you choose when you accept the difficulty of flying IFR. You get a lot of privileges with that, and so it should be challenging. It should demand a lot, and it should require currency. And then when you think about the actualities of instrument flying, in a lot of ways, you could argue this is a woefully minimal set of compliance specs to fly a tin can with a fan on it in circles with zero visibility near other airplanes ish. Like it's bonkers that's allowed.
I'm going to tell you, you're going to have this opportunity.
Yeah.
I have had it. And Ted, just kind of getting to the question of where does that cloud base need to be for my area, what we were trying to hit earlier. I have had it where there was a cloud that was probably 200 yards wide by 200 yards tall inside the final approach fix that I went through. And I was on an instrument plan and on an instrument approach. And so I lost sight of the airport inside the final approach fix.
We did that on episode 100 when we made the big 90-degree diversion to go pick up Mark.
Yes.
Because, of course, Mark had a damn it moment. The final approach fix, there were a few clouds here and there. Right there at the final approach fix, it was like this puffball was put in the correct spot for it. It was just...
And you celebrate those victories like that's a massive win there.
Ben
because
was very
technically
happy.
It's a loggable approach.
Yeah.
It's such a strange thing because on one hand you've got those potentials that you can end up in way worse situations than you really anticipated. as much planning as you can do. You can still end up in situations like that. But then on the flip side, there's also just the prevalent reality of kind of like what our friend Erica Gilbert just did in a video that she put out, right? Where it was, I filed, it was a perfectly good VFR day, but I filed. And what that allowed her to do was just not worry about these little layers of scattered and this and that on the way down. You can just punch right through them. It doesn't matter. And you're backed up with an approach anyway when you go visual and, all of that. So it's interesting to see where the VFR, IFR bleed over is and where they help and where they are maybe just so completely separate that they don't help. But anyway, I just find it interesting that we have to be so prepared for the worst, right? Like anything else, emergencies, but usually we're just filing and kind of going straight. So that was the thing for me when I got into my first hold in IMC, single pilot IFR. I've only done this a few times so far or whatever. And I'm having I'm doing a descending turn into like across the fix to enter the hold. So when you're doing maneuvers essentially or turns, that's a whole different thing. But ultimately we're just flying around, like just it's not much different.
And to answer your earlier question, Tad, I've checked 4 different approaches, 2 in McCollum and 2 at John Toon. Initial approach fix are between 3,000 and 3,500, and the final approach fixes are between 2,500 and 2,700 amongst all the approaches. So those marginal VFR days where the ceiling is between 1,000 and 3,000 is a really good start.
So Ben, how do you stay current?
If I get into that 30-day window where I'm about to expire, I will pick up the phone and I will call friends to come fly 3 approaches with me.
Yeah.
And just do it under the hood. I mean, or under the Foggles for me.
Yeah.
But that's the only way to be able to do it. And it's very important for me to keep up that proficiency. Even when it's a clear VFR day, I'll load it in approach and fly the needles. I know I can't log it, but I am still building some muscle memory and getting used to different wind conditions and different power settings and things like that. So I even shoot them on VFR days.
I think it was the Nobody Cares Nashville fly-in. It was one of the Nashville fly-ins that you flew with Tennessee CFI Sam, young CFI Sam. Speaking of young CFIs who are fantastic,
100%.
You did that for currency and to get to that point. And so it wasn't just you needed to check the box of getting in your approaches. It was also you wanted to be challenged.
That's right. I wanted it. I wanted the helmet fire.
Yeah.
I wanted it. I just again feels like more reps you get doing that, the better are you become at it.
So for currency, you can make it a little harder on yourself and a little bit more challenging, or you can make it a little easier on yourself. What should you do? I've got 43 days left. Tell me what to do.
When you see that there's going to be a marginal VFR day, or even ceilings, what's your minimums? What's your personal minimums?
1,000 AGL.
So clouds at 1,000 AGL. You see that going out there, you go shoot an approach, or go fly from Bowling Green to wherever, 50 miles, make it across country so you can give yourself up for an approach and go land at another airport, refile, and go fly your way back. Or you can go missed and just do a round robin. Knock out 2 whenever you can. Knocking out 6 is going to wear you out. 3 is my max. I won't do more than 3 in any, if I'm doing it for currency.
I was just thinking, man, I should just go back and do what I did for my check ride, which was insane. It was so the initial approach fix might as well be the same for the 2 airports, going opposite directions. It was between X and X and Mike 54. If you go look at how that lays out, that's where my check ride was. And it was just bam, 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 bam. So maybe I should just go over there. But doing it that quickly and that hectic is not real life.
Right.
So
I was planning to do one last week. It was supposed to be no thunderstorms, but precipitation, and I was going to fly up to Chattanooga and come back. But it got hotter. We ended up having a lot of thunderstorms, so I did it.
What you did with CFI Sam, who's now airline captain Sam, that asking for the helmet fire, effectively you were getting an IPC. So
right.
Adam brings up a great point here. Have we mentioned doing an IPC instead of 6? That's always a great thing to do, and it's probably what I should do. I think that's a fair thing to do.
Well,
right after
the table,
your
though.
yeah.
So what is an IPC? How's
Oh,
it
so
doing the 6 things? Yeah.
it's just like they just tattoo this barcode on you, and then it just makes it easier for them to scan you to make you current and have it be logged with
Don't
the
forget
FAA.
the
No.
chip. They implant a chip too.
That's a
There-
UPC. Yeah.
Oh,
So instrument proficiency check is what IPC stands for, and thanks for calling that out, Ted. You can go up with an instructor. It's, correct me if I'm wrong, it's like a flight review, but for instruments.
yeah. I mean,
Can you log it as a flight review?
That's a great question. I believe that you can log an IPC as a flight review, but I don't know for sure.
Yeah. Anyway,
I don't know.
somebody a lot smarter will figure that out or
That's
write
a-
in to tell us one way or the other.
That's a question on the FIA test that I haven't passed yet.
So
So-
it's something that you can go sit with or go fly with a CFI. I think there will be groundwork involved with that, but it's whether you're current or not. It's not a bad idea to do one of those once a year.
So it's kind of like a BFR for instrument.
That is correct.
I mean, we're being very vague with the terms here, but roughly that's what you're talking about. Is you must be with the CFII probably, and do all that. Okay, yeah. And Tim C says you need an hour of ground, so that confirms the BFR theory.
Yes.
I've got to say, I mean, besides being a feral cat who likes to fly alone, I do. It's one thing, and I realized this early on. It's one thing that I am disappointed about being a sport pilot for, which is you cannot be a safety pilot for someone for their currency. That is really disappointing to me because you need a VFR pilot as a safety pilot. You don't need like instrument current.
I think it probably has to do with whatever the pseudo assurance of the medical is. I think it's at the. I think that's at the baseline of the liability factor for whoever is in that position.
You're trying to trigger me here, but no, it's a.
No, I mean, like I agree. I addressed it right at the front as being a pseudo credential. Or
no, it's just it's just how the regulations are written. It's 91-109, and it's like, hey, you must have at least a private pilot certificate to sit in the right seat.
But I think what they're really saying is you need a medical. That's what I think. That's my point.
I see what you're saying. I think that it's more like, hey, you can't have a student pilot over there.
Well, that too,
I think
of course.
That's
yeah.
I think that's really what they're. But to me, it's really interesting, right? Because you need someone who qualified who can be a VFR pilot sitting next to you, and that to me is what being a sport pilot is all about. And so I wish that was eligible.
Well, everybody should go to the midlifepilotpodcast.com tape machine and tell us in 2 minutes or less how you stay current. How do you manage all of this? Or do you just let it expire and then let yourself go a year and then have to do the IPC? And then that's the way you get kicked back into gear every time. Or how are you doing this? So let us know.
Definitely.
Also tell us all the things we got wrong in this, because Brian is a ground instructor, but he is not your ground instructor. And the rest of us are not qualified in any way. So these are us as pilots telling you our experiences. I'm sure we got a lot wrong here, and that's kind of what we do. So,
and we've got some folks in the chat that are knowledgeable that are keeping us straight as well.
I don't think that we've missed the boat too bad on anything. But yeah, I mean, so now when we come back here next week, Ben, are you going to make it next week to the podcast?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm coming back on Saturday.
Ah, okay. Well, we'll still have fun anyway.
Other than that, Mrs. Lincoln, how was the play?
No, that's awesome. I'm so excited. You guys are going to have such a good time. I've been getting little dispatches from our friend Luke and others. And it is, I think the most rewarding thing for me has been seeing Mark send the shot of the program with the Midlife Pilot Podcast media credentials. And I just thought, This is great. Like, let our resident Andy Rooney be the guy.
Is there anybody better to be the correspondent?
Yeah, I love it. It's so good. But you guys are gonna have a blast, man. I'm very envious.
And we're due for a whiskey episode, aren't we?
Sure.
I think we are.
Great.
I want to remind everyone, please don't make us play the Sarah McLachlan music. Please leave us a 5-star review. Say what you want to about it. Just put the 5 stars in there. Subscribe, do all the things. Fellas, anything else for the good of the podcast?
I'm good. You guys have fun at Oshkosh.
Today's words of wisdom, not necessarily aviation related, but just from what I've been seeing on YouTube lately, I feel like this fits. It's the difference between genius and stupidity is that genius has its limits. Signing off, episode 190 of the Midlife Pilot Podcast. Goodbye, everybody.